Hey everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. We're at episode 702. This is being recorded on December 7, 2022. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sprumberg. I'm saving time.
We're going to visit Josh in Laramie, Wyoming now, as is customary at the top of the show. Josh, you want to tell us about your lunch?
You know, this one's called the Redheaded Stranger, and it's only $13.99. It's got a pickle. Yeah, pickle. Breaded onion straws, which make a nice crunch. Smoked pulled pork, which you see there. Alabama white sauce. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's kind of vinegary. It's almost like a fry sauce.
Oh my!
It was fantastic. Quarter-pound patty, and then cheddar cheese. The Redheaded Stranger. It was smoky. It was pulled porky. It was beefy. The sauce was tangy. It wasn't spicy. I mean, kind of had that, almost a barbecue sweet type flavor, but it was offset nicely with the vinegar. And it was an all-around good filling burger that had some crunch to it, which was nice. So, again, highly recommended. The fries were good. I had no problems with the meal today. The price was okay. I mean, you can't get a $6 burger anymore. It just doesn't work that way. But $13.99.
If you do, you don't want to eat it.
McDonald's has something that says hamburger on the menu that's well under $6, but
yeah,
well, that's exactly my point.
I'm so thankful that this week we get to lead off with an Intel Arc story. And it's not because one of us finished a review of an Arc product, but, I could do that. But instead, we have more exciting news about their ever-evolving driver situation. And this time they paid very close attention to DirectX 9 performance, as they have this
they're catching up
here. Yeah, it's upward trajectory, as they write here on their site.
Any month now. Yep.
But hey, they're starting from scratch. It has been getting better. We've been talking about this for a while, but they are routinely updating the drivers, and every single time it seems there's either major fixes or performance uplift. But we're talking pretty big performance uplift from this DirectX 9 performance update. They're talking up to, I think they said 1.8 times the performance versus the previous driver, with 99th percentile FPS up to 2.3 times faster versus the previous driver. So smoother.
Yeah, those are big numbers.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's good.
So now all of a sudden, Intel, for those competitive esports players like LOL, CSGO, StarCraft 2, much better performance in most of those titles. League of Legends goes up from 246 to 336 frames per second on average.
And CSGO.
Yeah, CSGO.
LOL, CSGO.
Yep. Well, over 100.
That's all real-time compilers. I mean, they're doing shader changes and real-time compiler improvements.
And Josh, you complained about the size of the driver. That has to be big for all of these.
1.2 gigabyte.
That's pretty big.
And AMD and NVIDIA have kept theirs around 750 megabyte.
Maybe
still a large driver, but
yeah,
Intel has made it bigger, longer, and uncut.
With Intel, you get 80% more driver.
Yeah,
and look at this.
Maybe
you can tell.
More.
I'm surprised that AMD and NVIDIA kept it relatively tidy due to the large number of individual game optimizations that they include in every driver. So I'm surprised at that.
They probably roll some of that into redundant type files, stuff that is close enough, especially in older things. And so,
sure,
a fix that makes Morrowind run smooth is, something that they implemented ages ago, and it's only like 40K in size. So I don't know. I'm just talking out my rear.
No, it's probably true.
Look at this frame time improvement with CSGO. You can tell that this has Ryan's fingerprints all over it because you're looking at frame time graphs.
Boy, it's funny that Ryan is working with TAP, who Taft, who did the big frame rating stuff for NVIDIA. Crazy.
Look at how bad it was. That's kind of amazing. And then how, I mean, there's a few hitches here and there, but it's nothing like it was. This is like looking at like Crossfire versus single GPU charts from back in the day. It makes me want to get these cards on the test bed. If only there was some reason to fire up the GPU test bed, test graphics cards again.
Strange.
Like right now.
Weird.
No reason.
Oh?
Get it
Really?
there gathering dust. It's,
Poor GPU test bed.
Moving on to another
Nuts.
GPU story. This is at videocards.com, but it's actually being sourced via Igor's lab. According to Igor, apparently, after sourcing information from multiple big board partners who make Radeon GPUs, is how it's being phrased here. It is said that 10,000 made by AMD graphics cards will be distributed within EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa region. Germany alone receives 3,000 units, which it says here does seem sufficient for such an expensive GPU. Okay, no.
Really?
No, not at all. When this is coming in a couple $100 below NVIDIA's price for now, and
I don't think it will be.
I can't imagine that this thing is going to be easy to buy. I wonder how many the US is getting.
Probably
Now-
10,000.
Yeah, it doesn't really say, but it does say that they're potentially afflicted by some BIOS issues and potential driver problems with memory leaks and all that. It all sounds fairly legitimate for a just about launched video card. I don't think that AMD is alone in suffering from these sorts of maladies just prior to launch.
There was a story, I don't remember where it was, I was reading about how there won't be any available in mainland China at all at launch.
True.
Because the cards will be marked made in Taiwan, which is not allowed. But that's to avoid the tariffs that are coming for things that are made in China. So AMD was forward thinking. So I guess that's good for us because then the rest of the world, including, of course, the United
More
States,
stuff. Yeah.
more cards and no tariffs. If it's made in Taiwan, then obviously that doesn't. All right, well, let's look at some actual cards. And these are partner cards. This is from ASRock. We have a Tai Chi and a Phantom Gaming. You thought those were motherboards? No, they're graphics cards. Overclocked, out of the box. First photos on videocards.com. Where else? And triple fan. And it says at least triple slot. These are, well, this one's only double, like 2.5 slot.
I was going to say it didn't look like triple slot.
Tai Chi is a full triple slot. This is basically...
Oh, that's
beefy.
That's like a 4090 cooler. Are they just repurposing 4090 coolers at this point?
Hush you.
ASRock doesn't do NVIDIA. So it'd be nice to be able to get one of their examples of the product in and like compare it to the last generation XFX 6800 XT that I like so much. The Merc. Not Merkin, mine, just the Merc.
No.
The Merc.
But anyway, ASRock's gone from El Cheapo motherboard maker that you don't really trust to one of the more respected. So kind of interesting to see how they do that.
Here's a picture of
Oh,
the
there it
Merc.
is.
There's the Merc.
Oh.
Hey, Merc.
That looks like a 2-slot
Merc.
design there.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.5.
Looks just like the
It's
previous
310,
Merc.
so it's 300 millimeter fans instead of the 319, which is 100 and a 90. So it's going to be a larger board, but you know, it's going to they're taking up the length. Know what I'm saying?
3 8-pins, eh?
They're just
My dog
laying
knows
it all
what I'm
out
saying.
there. Laying it all out there is what you're saying.
All right, it's time to talk about processors now. We've talked about GPUs quite a bit, but what about the much anticipated? This is the platform savior here. Everybody says, wait for X3D now.
True.
And multiple AMD Ryzen Zen 4 7000 series 3D Vcache SKUs rumored for CES 2023 debut, writes Zach Killian at Hot Hardware. Do you believe this? Is it coming that soon? That many SKUs?
Seems soon.
But we want 3D now, so I mean,
Yeah.
it would be
Who
good.
doesn't? With an exclamation point. With 3D now. Here's the deal. Okay. They're selling a lot of those 5800 X3Ds. It's out of stock pretty much everywhere. The prices have gone back up, and my dog is barking outside. And thank my wife and the other people in the house that never pay attention to these animals. But anyway, besides that, Yeah, it does seem kind of early, but at the same time, it is a more thought out SKU, spectrum that they could really kind of use right now, because they're not selling a whole lot of the 7000 series. I mean, they probably are selling a decent amount, but they're not going out of stock. Motherboards, memory, still expensive. They've lowered prices. They're still in stock everywhere. So, there may be a significant price adjustment. They could get all of this, manufacturing. I mean, they've been doing the pipe cleaner with the 5800 X3D for quite a few months now. They probably got that down pat where yields are really good. And so, yeah, I could see it happening. Maybe if maybe they're just being aggressive because of the 13th gen series from Intel is pretty darn good, even though it's hot.
Yeah, but it's the cold winter months, and that's an advantage right now for Intel. I do a lot of work down here in this dark, cold corner of my basement, and I appreciate it when components are extremely hot because it keeps me warm and cozy.
Yeah, my 5800X sucks for that. It does not push out the heat like my old i920.
Well, AMD can certainly use the boost, but what does that mean for the existing 7000 series? Because once the X3D products come out, if they indeed go with multiple SKUs, which I don't know anything, it strikes me as a little hard to believe that they would have 8, 12, and 16 core variants of it, or whatever they're saying. Because at that point,
it's all going to be pricing,
I guess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what? There are certain things that are going to be multi-threaded that will just perform better on a 7900 than it will on the 7700 X3D or a 7800 X3D. As we have seen with the current Vcache, 3D V whatever, it does not positively impact a lot of workloads. So it's going to be, again, a spectrum of prices and products that, I mean, how many SKUs does Intel have at any one time? It's like
800.
Stupid amount, like 32 honest to goodness SKUs for desktop. You get the K, the KFs, the non-K. It's just
those laptop parts.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, it used to be a $5 separation. Inflation's made it a $10 separation, but they've.
And so, I'd imagine AMD will do something like that they will fit those right in between the non-3D SKUs. And, I'm kind of excited to see if, the 7600 X3D would do if they, in fact, release one. I doubt they will at that price point, but never can tell.
It'd be great if they did, and then they kept it at the original price point and then kept the new lower prices as the new.
That would be awesome.
So, it doesn't take a genius to figure out this stuff isn't selling when your flagship 16-core part goes from $700 to $575 really quick.
Yeah.
But they could come right in with that X3D at $799 probably if they'd had a 16-core variant of it, which just, it seems like a bad idea.
All right.
Stacking.
I bet they stagger this. I bet they stagger the release. If they're going to do this, I bet they stagger it at different.
They might.
Different chips.
I can see them just announcing. I can see Lisa on stage just announcing one X3D at CES. It's like one more thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
and probably not even the flagship one that they're thinking about if they do multiple SKUs, but like the second highest one. And
yeah, I can see it being the 7900 X3D this time.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then they tease you with there might be a better one.
Well, that allows them to get punchy, releases over time, and they can time that to whenever they want.
Will the stacking
they could
help or hurt thermals if they have to make the heat spreader thinner to account for the higher package? Will that actually end up evening things out, or will they have to drop voltage and frequency like they did with the 5800 X3D?
I don't know.
They've already seen that as a viable trade-off, so they'll probably do it again.
Yeah.
Seems like they
think it
do
hurts that
more
much.
excavation of the silicon on the actual die.
Yeah.
To get the 3D stuff there. So I don't know.
All right. Well, enough conjecture. Let's talk about something real and something that's going to change your life. Microsoft is working on a mobile super app. What the hell does that mean?
Is it like a super pipe?
No, that would actually be useful.
Jeremy, I noticed that you created a new tag called Super App. I'm not sure that we're going to use that ever again, but
I'm going to use it every week.
Yeah,
Super app.
it's going to go on there as a tongue-in-cheek one for numerous new ones.
For any new Microsoft story.
I see some use coming out of this more than anyone will actually use Microsoft Super App. Indeed, because what they have done is invent WeChat, or at least they're trying to.
Oh no!
And everyone realizes that WeChat is a really good thing to be on. So yeah, it's going to be shopping, messaging, searching, news feeds, and other services. They might as well promise a useful version of Bing at the same time. But yeah, they've completely bailed on mobile, but they realize that means they're not in mobile whatsoever. So that they're going to design a new super app and close their mobile store gap that they have. Because there's not even like a mobile store. Unless you've got like an old Nokia holdout that can still access the Microsoft store.
Why would you want to?
Microsoft store. Well, because of the giant camera on the back that's stuck out so conveniently.
No, the hardware was great. I had a Windows mobile phone. I got the Lumia 900. I think it was what it was. But the apps were not great when Microsoft was still paying developers a bunch of money to make apps. But now
I can't remember the name of it. But there was an app that was a pick of the week many, many moons ago. Because when they first shipped the Nokia, what was it, 1935, 1835? The one with the giant camera nipple sticking out the back.
Okay.
Regardless, it was a Nokia phone, but it was Microsoft owned them at this point. They didn't install one of the trust certificates to be able to access Outlook. And so I had to do like a chain search to figure out which one was missing, get it from Microsoft and install it on the guy's phone, because the Microsoft phone was missing a Microsoft certificate to access Microsoft Outlook.
Seems embarrassing.
Yeah, you'd think, but it hasn't stopped them. So yeah, there's a super app coming. Search for it on Bing.
Let's move on to a news story about an SSD. The Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus Gaming Edition. What's different about the Gaming Edition?
Because it's built with a specialized Phison controller to make advantage of a brand new feature that you're supposed to have. You know, that game cache that everyone has? Game
Make
cache.
Sure it's a new...
Some would say cache. Some.
Is it a new actual chip or just firmware?
They didn't say just about anything else. They said it was a specialized Phison controller and special O2 Go firmware from Sabrent. And I sort of dug around a little bit. It actually took me a while to find that it was TLC, because I was curious what kind of flash was in it, and some sites don't necessarily mention that.
No, Tweaktown never gets anything.
No. So one of the neat things they did is that right there. So they did a 20-hour long texture streaming simulation. And that solid red frickin' bar at the top there, above the Optane, is this thing. Not a single disturbance over 20 hours of texture streaming. Not necessarily very useful for day-to-day life, but it shows you that this thing is pretty solid when it's being able to access direct memory and your CPU. So other than that, the performance is pretty good. They claim 7,400 megs read and 7,000 write. Crystal Diskmark saw that. A lot of the others, not so much. Maybe 5,000 megs, but still quite impressive. Usually in the top 3, depending on what it's against. So yeah, it's really impressive. It comes with a small problem, though. It ain't cheap. The
Come on, it's 4 terabytes. This particular one.
yeah, it's and I'm trying to find it was just north of $700.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll click
you're
on their
paying
affiliate
for it.
link.
We're going back up to that whole 20 cents a gig thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, $6.99.
But if you were bashing the hell out of your SSD, like a 20-hour long texture streaming thing, and it didn't blink for a second. So if you need that sort of ability, it's actually not a bad idea. The 2 terabyte wasn't quite as great, and is 15 cents. But for specialized usage, this thing would be amazing. If you're just looking for a gaming drive, I mean, unless you got the cash to throw around, it's a bit overkill. To be perfectly honest, at $700.
Let's pause here for a word from this week's podcast sponsor.
Jump into lifelong learning with MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on such a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the top of their fields. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's most creative minds, anytime or anywhere, and at your own pace. Improve your cooking skills with Gordon Ramsay. Think like an FBI profiler with John Douglas, or even learn how to make more compelling videos with Marquis Brownlee. I've been enjoying the art of negotiation with former FBI negotiator Chris Voss, and he has a great in-depth session on winning workplace negotiations also. With over 180 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do or learn about is closer than you think. I've just started taking a class with the Duffer Brothers. You might have seen them as the writers and creators for Stranger Things. They take you through the total concept and development for a series, including character development and world building, right down to setting up and selling your pitch. This is very cool. Find something you're interested in and start your lessons today. Explore the full library of cinema-quality classes on the MasterClass streaming platform from your phone, tablet, Apple TV, or any computer. They even have an audio-only mode for on-the-go listening. I highly recommend you check it out. This holiday, give the perfect gift of an annual MasterClass membership and get one free. Go to masterclass.com/PCPer today. That's masterclass.com/PCPer. Terms apply.
We're back, and we're going to talk about Moore's Law. It's not dead. AMD says it's not dead, and you know why?
That's a different site.
Because AMD makes CPUs, so why would they want it to be dead? They're just going about it in a different way. Besides that, can we talk about Moore's Law for a second? Because when Gordon Moore said what he said, and later revised what he said a couple years later, he was looking at like a period of time. There was massive growth for 10, 20 years there. And it's slowed, but now different packaging, different kinds of techniques are being employed, so we can get this moving again. I don't know. It's
More money.
AMD's obviously just going to throw more and more and more chiplets at the problem.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crappy because Moore's Law. We can go back and kind of see that the thing started breaking about 2006 with the whole 18 months doubling transistor density. And, people have, kind of applied their own definitions to that. And now we're doing, packaging and stacking and whatnot and saying, well, look at the density because things are 3D stacked now. It's like, well,
Is it cheating? Is it cheating?
kind of been 3D stacked in ways with how they've done, route and place and how many
variable
metal
length now.
layers are we on now? 18 metal layers
Sure.
going up to 20. And so, these are large 3D design things in the first place. And yeah, they've done density and now we're doing chip packaging density. And it just, the pace of innovation continues, but they're kind of breaking the original definition of it all.
Yeah.
And so, I don't mind it, but I wish they'd just say, Moore's Law is no longer applicable to what we are doing now, even though we still are innovating at nearly the same pace. It's just there are physical limitations to what we can do with the tools that we have.
A Paper Master literally said it's a Moore's Law equivalent. So I think I get what you're saying here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Going back in time and saying, with unit costs falling as the number of components per circuit rises, by 1975, economics may dictate squeezing as many as 65,000 components onto a single silicon chip. That doesn't have quite the ring to it. But over the longer term, the rate of increase is a bit more uncertain, although there is no reason to believe it will not remain nearly constant for at least 10 years. That means by 1975, the number of components per integrated circuit for minimum cost will be 65,000. He was just talking about how long will it be until it's no longer practical to keep doubling? Not, it will always keep happening. And, well, I mean, clearly it's been part of Intel's marketing for many years, but if you go back and read what he actually wrote back in 1965, it's not
as opposed to like the one sentence.
Right. Just like the Bill Gates 640K is all anyone will ever need, which he says he never said, and it was probably taken out of context. And,
Well, he was on stage at the time, and it was just sort of a blather. Developers was much better.
And then fracturing your ankle while skipping around was the best.
But literally, we're coming up on the 60th anniversary of when this paper was written. Things change over 60 bloody years.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't necessarily wrong. It's just not valid anymore.
Here's another deal. This density that they're achieving through stacking has two problems, and that is heat and power, and, well, three problems. No, four.
Three Four problems.
Yeah, no. I mean, you got three
problems.
It's power,
No one ever.
heat, and cost.
Wait, one more.
Okay, sure.
Latency.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Latency is not as big a deal with the through via.
Oh, you mean the
there
Infinity
is a slight.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like the 3D Vcache processor has,
But it's not like going to a chipset or a cache chip that's off chip. I mean,
but
the
it's
3D
still there.
stack via is
like
just,
inter
a lot faster.
Latency.
The interconnects between your chiplets can
Now you want to get to that. You want to get to that Allen logarithmic graph of latency and which things, because we're down at the very bottom, going from on chip to 3D vias through chip vias. It's pretty small. But anyway,
you can get around some of that situational stuff when there's a program or an instruction that has a cache miss against a cache block that's not closely associated with that particular chiplet, and it has to cross the infinity cache. You need very clever. They're papering over. I should say. Their software getting around some of these limitations by making sure the instructions land in the right place for the right chiplet to fetch all of the data or the whatever it needs to actually particularly run that is closely associated with the CPU core that it's actually running with.
Which is kind of why we require Windows 11 for the 13th generation chips for Intel.
They did the exact same thing with E-cores. It became much more clever programming at the operating system layer to take advantage of the new hardware constructs.
We could do it for Windows 10, but it's not.
Yes, they could have. Yeah, they knew how to divide the instructions. They just didn't put it in the OS. Yeah.
Let's move on to a story about electrostatic headphones. This is not a name I'm familiar with. Nectar.
Is this a shocking development?
I thought you'd like this one. I put this in one because, audio.
Can you only listen to it when you're wearing socks on carpet?
Okay, that was not the reason I put this in here.
They do suggest that you discharge the cord before trying to plug it in and to put the headphones on before attempting to plug it in, because, it is floating electrostatic drivers, because retired electrical engineers are dangerous. I don't know if he's actually retired or not, but it's a single guy who decided to design a pair of electrostatic headphones and then realized that, hey, I could make some of my money back if I sold them. And so they're literally handcrafted up to and including the cables. He assembles the harness. He does everything. The shell that you're looking at is 3D printed.
Oh, okay.
So Yeah, but it is a
So
company.
you said it was
Nectar Sound does
handmade,
exist.
Jeremy.
Hey, a hand touched that 3D printer. It didn't appear out of nowhere. I mean, a 3D printer printed the 3D printer that printed the
Right. Yeah.
regardless.
How much
So
do they
it's a very
cost?
well, I mean, you'd have to reach out to Nectar.
Oh, I see. They're very exclusive.
They're $650.
Okay.
So comparatively for a lot of kind of crazy stuff, it's not bad. And they ended up chatting with the guy. So you go for support. You're actually talking to the person who built these from the ground up. But the thing is that like they did it, and some of the noise levels, they look brilliant, but it's very instrument forward. So your vocals are gonna be behind, and it's just the nature apparently of the way that they've done this. And the thing with the electrostatic is that, I mean, the diaphragm can essentially stick, either because there's stators that have hit the point, or there's dust inside of it. So, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be high maintenance. But
so it's kind of like vinyl, really high-end vinyl. You've got to use the special rags to wipe it off so the dust doesn't go into the cracks and ruin your
into the pits.
Totally analog experience.
You do know there are audiophiles that just want that experience. You do understand that, right? That's how they want to deal with their audio.
If you look at forums, they're full of people who are doing everything they can to eliminate any surface noise, any pops. It's like, at that point, just get a high-res digital file. You will drive yourself insane trying to make vinyl sound absolutely perfect. And these are the people who return. They buy a brand new pressing. Then they go on to CFOFN forums and complain about the fact that there was a pressing defect. Yeah, it's an imperfect media. It does a really good job considering it's just a piece of vinyl that's been pressed. And it's amazing that it even works at all. And not only that,
and they can do it in stereo with a single track.
Exactly. It's remarkable.
It's amazing.
It's like magic. Yeah. By the way, the whole article, I was scrolling through that review, the whole time I'm thinking about, like, haven't we seen these before? Yes, Stax has been making electrostatic headphones for a long time. And
they look pretty weird, don't they?
Very strange. They're ear speakers. They're ear speakers.
Kent says these are, the shell is borrowed from a JBL HA RX 700, actually.
Yeah, it does look like he got an STL.
Essentially gutted those.
They look thicker.
The drivers. You're right. They do.
That could be. But yeah, you might have gotten like an STL and just modified it a bit.
Interesting. Yeah.
This is an impressive looking piece of kit.
Unbelievable.
It looks like something that the Emperor...
Truly unbelievable.
No, it's that chair that Vader sits in, and then like the helmet comes down, and...
No, this is the ejection pod for the B-58
this is real.
Hustler.
This is real.
Is it? This looks like a render.
Well, okay. I mean, it actually...
This is a real render that's registered to be on a waiting list.
Please register and do sign up to get notified on this. I have an email notification from Cooler Master. Master.
We should probably tell audio listeners what the heck we're talking about. It's the Orb X, and it looks like it looks like an egg that you sit in, but there's also a curved monitor.
No, it looks like the antagonist from Portal.
Yeah, crossed a little bit with the seat that Will Smith sits on in Men in Black.
Yeah. GLaDOS is actually on the screen behind me, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yes. So,
wait, did they build a prototype?
Okay. Here it is in actual size. And you can see the Cooler Master logo out front. And a pair of, those look like 34-inch ultra-wides, of course.
Hold on. All this technology,
ultra-wides.
And he's plugging in a wired headset.
Yep.
They couldn't do low latency. Never mind.
No.
All right, and here... a girl is sitting in the chair, and they're talking about the comfort,
motorized,
6-point adjustability, ergonomic. Chair.
Yeah.
She's doing a racing game with the keyboard without a
steering wheel,
without a mouse, just the keyboard.
Yeah.
And
who hasn't done
and
that?
Now there's honey. No, it's Scotch.
Back in the day,
Clearly
playing
a
Need for
business
Speed on the
professional.
family computer and just using the arrow keys to steer.
Mhm.
Forward arrow, top arrow is going forward, left, right.
I used to have a friend over, and you steer the guy, and I'll aim for the gun. Yeah.
That was actually true because you couldn't be in two places at once. You had to have a friend.
Well, you could,
hey.
but the friend was much better.
Now, speaking of friends,
Unless it was like, go left.
You don't want people too close to you when you're doing your sensitive business in your chair. So it has enhanced privacy because of its semi-enclosed design to keep away distractions and enable uninterrupted privacy mode with the automated shuttle dome enclosure, which can be engaged with the press of a button. I think it traps you inside. Like it just
And
you get,
for audio listeners, this is a clamshell that kind of opens and closes around.
Yeah,
you
it's like getting inside of a giant oyster.
It doesn't provide any.
It's
any
so
privacy
immersive
whatsoever. I'm sorry,
but it's semi-privacy. It's like you can see what's happening through the sides. It's not going to save anyone.
First of all, where are you? Where are you using this that you need enhanced privacy? Would you just
Black.
be at home?
Jeremy, do you want the? Do you want that black
I want the
one?
Universe Black.
Universe Black. Okay, I see this.
How much?
Could you go get Dad?
you
I'm
have
sorry,
to
Mom.
ask.
Dad's in enhanced privacy mode.
Again?
My favorite part of the spec is the voltage requirements. Bring that one back up.
Yeah.
Voltage requirements. Check it out. 240 volts AC.
240.
Okay.
You're going to have to say, you know what? We don't need that dryer. I've got a chair.
No, kids, we can't dry your clothes right now. I'm busy gaming.
Jeremy, I think you may have torpedoed your chance of getting one of these chairs. I'm just saying. I think it would have been a great comparison against the chair that you're in today versus
They're
the new
welcome
Cooler
to
Master
prove me
chair.
wrong.
Send Jeremy the Cooler Master chair. Let's start a petition for that. Send Jeremy the Cooler Master chair.
Apple has killed its plan to scan your photos for CSAM. And you probably know what that is because you've probably been hearing about the story since August of 2021 when they first announced their plan, which riled people up.
Yep.
It was meant to be privacy preserving. I think people didn't like the idea that the only way to scan your photo library for potentially problematic and abusive content is to scan your photo library.
For some reason, people found this intrusive. For some reason.
A bit, yeah. So they're abandoning it.
Well, I mean, there's that one big
intrusive,
case where the doctor of the kids, he's got sores in his genital area. Take a picture and send it to me, and they did that. And next thing you know, Bug is after me. The FBI goes at their door and they lock out their all their pictures, and it's it's not good. It's a little too intrusive.
Josh, that wasn't a bug; it was a drone.
Yeah,
no,
tiny
it's
drone.
these little stupid fruit flyers that
nano drone.
I don't know why we have them.
Flies aren't
nano
real.
Drone.
Flies don't exist.
It's a nano drone. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's doing a good job. Freaking thing.
All right, this next story is for anyone who hasn't moved over to Bitwarden yet. And by the way,
password.
I'm going to shill for Bitwarden here because
and I'll shill for one password.
They're free and open source, and you can either use.
And they didn't
their
recently
app.
get hacked.
No, actually, somehow the one that's open source hasn't been hacked, but the one that's closed source has been hacked. Because you remember when the last time they were hacked, LastPass lost some of their source code, which was then used for the next one. So this latest breach was done using some of the stuff stolen from the last one. They still haven't got any of your digital vault stuff because LastPass is one of those, it's a digital locker. They have no access to your encrypted password, allegedly. There's no backdoor, supposedly. If you have a LastPass account, say you pay for premium, they got your credit card number now. But they didn't get all your passwords, so that saves you a lot of trouble. Now you can just cancel your credit card, get a new one, and you don't have to change your password to 200 different websites.
Oh, it's convenient. That's the convenient part of this. Is that
it's the LastPass difference. You only lose your personal identity every freaking time we get hacked, but you don't have to change all your passwords again and again and again.
And I mean, that's a hassle. I mean,
who wants that?
Going to the DMV, I guess, for the Americans or the Canadian equivalent. That's easy. Changing all my passwords, I don't want to have to do that.
Oh, what a hassle that would have been.
Yeah.
Changing your credit card is fairly simple nowadays. I mean, everybody gets their credit card hacked a couple times a year, right? I mean, right? I mean, that's just normal. That's just doing business as a human.
Well, I'm a
And if you
T-Mobile
don't-
customer,
If,
so
if you're not getting hacked once a year, you probably just have and you don't know it.
that means
Either that, or
everything's
you're
been exposed. Social security number, name, email address, everything was exposed.
or you're not even interesting enough for the hackers to grab your credit card information, and that's a sad life, isn't it?
So anyway,
No, that would be-
Bitwarden is free. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your Mac. You can use it on Windows.
My
Yes, Brett,
gosh.
it has a native Mac app. I have it on my 2015 MacBook Pro.
Still using 1Password unhacked.
Yeah, well, 1Password's great, and so is Bitwarden. Bitwarden, you can even host it yourself if you want to. You don't have to rely on their service. You can have your own.
Used to be able to host a 1Password service. I think
But
they
not
ended
anymore.
that, I think. Correct.
Right. Bitwarden's still on the very free side of things. So, but
Yeah.
use something. Use a password manager. But I actually have an iPhone right now, and I use Bitwarden on my iPhone, so everything unlocks with my face. But it's I don't even know what my password is. It's so ridiculously long. I just use my face. So if somebody wants to kidnap me and force me to look at my phone, then
They
they
can
steal
have
my
everything they
passwords.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They've
think
got
maybe
the
we're
keys
just
to the
going to
kingdom.
hold your phone up
And
to
hell-
like one of these podcasts. I think that might work.
No, because an iPhone uses depth sensing to
That's true.
identify whether your face is an actual face or a picture.
Yeah,
can't
well,
say
if
the
I
same for
project your
Android phone.
face onto a mannequin head and line it up,
It actually, of course, we all know that works in total darkness as well. You can look
it
at your
does.
phone at night and it unlocks.
Because it's IR. How many days has it been since the last 0 day in Chrome?
Probably 0. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So
it's
anyway,
been N
Chrome,
days.
Defender, and Firefox. What is Defender? Is that a new browser I'm not aware of? Linked to commercial IT firm in Spain.
Microsoft Defender,
Oh, okay.
because it's tied into Edge, which
Yes.
is Chrome, which is
Credge. as
yes,
it's
it is
affectionately known.
Credge.
Yes. So
I think
Google
I started
researchers
that.
said on Wednesday that they have linked a Barcelona, Spain-based IT company to the sale of advanced software frameworks that exploit vulnerabilities in Chrome, Firefox, and Windows Defender. This is a story at Ars Technica.
Patch early, patch often.
So there's an exploit for Chrome. There's an exploit for escaping the Chrome security sandbox. There's it's called Heliconian noise is, I guess, the exploit's name, or could be configured by the customer to set things up like the maximum number of times to serve the exploits. Yeah, and rules specifying when a visitor should be considered as a valid target. This is just utter nonsense, considering that there's so many security rules and sandboxing, and there's no way to escape this that the browsers are constantly doing, and there's always an exploit. There's always the next exploit. It's kind of like Windows in such a way, in a bizarre way. There's always another exploit.
And now let's pause for a word from our second podcast sponsor this week.
Have you ever been surprised to find a semi-mysterious charge on your bank account or credit card statement, only to suddenly realize that you actually did sign up for something? That's money you've already spent on something you didn't use. Could be the local gym, a lawn care service for a place you don't live at anymore, or more likely some sort of online content access you're not using. Hulu, Prime, some random news site? How much are these unwanted subscriptions really costing you? This is where RocketMoney, formerly known as Truebill, can really help you out and take control. This app shows you all your subscriptions in one place and can cancel the ones you don't want. Simple. Aw, yeah. RocketMoney might even find ones you've been double charged for. Nice. No longer want a subscription? Press that cancel button on the app and RocketMoney takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with RocketMoney now. Go to rocketmoney.com/PC Perspective. Seriously, this could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/PC Perspective. Cancel your unnecessary subscriptions right now at rocketmoney.com/PC Perspective.
We're back, and we're going to look at some gaming quick hits, which begins with something that I can't pronounce. Jeremy, please help me.
Ixion. It's you know how Zeus likes fiddling around? Well, this was a king that fiddled with Hera, and he's bound on a wheel in Tartarus for eternity, which is a good name for this because you are sort of piloting an Arc ship, which is a giant wheel, except you only start out with one little section of the wheel. So it's your old sort of God game, city management sort of thing, but there's a couple of interesting twists to it.
If you break a deal, do you face the wheel?
You face the wheel.
Oh.
But I'd rather you drink from the fire hose.
No. That's Thunderdome.
That's Thunderdome, and I went UHF.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's call it what you want, but you're taken off from Earth to either run away from the horrific things we've done to Earth, or off to spread humanity throughout the glorious galaxy. But the problem is that usually with these sort of games, you can just sort of spawn more workers. Well, they sort of went with a thing where it takes a good, depending on how you view child labor, at least a dozen years to get a useful worker again.
Oh, these are generational ships. Geez, they're just a generational
Well, it's
ship,
an arc ship.
Okay.
No, there's a new engine that you really, really don't want to stand behind. They put a demo out, and so the demo ends as the ship originally takes off. At the beginning, you're on the moon trying to harvest resources to at least be able to have enough to be able to make it somewhere else. And that's where it ended. But it looked really interesting. I picked it up day one. I haven't played it yet because I haven't quite beat Terra Invicta yet, but I'm almost there. But if you like that sort of game, it looks like an interesting one. It's running about $30 with 10% off.
So kind of like Frostpunk, except Frostpunk in space.
Yeah, I still haven't got that to one. Well, Epic gave it to me for free. I just haven't played it yet.
Speaking of good old games, Portal's not that old, but it's been rejuvenated with RTX. Remember the last
Isn't
time
it 12 years old?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Probably. Yeah. Probably. But, recently, within the last few years, they added time as another, Portal style. That was 2 years ago, a year ago. They added a revamp of Portal with time portals.
Not that I'm aware of.
They just did a demo. They just released a demo of that.
Yeah, they're actually, they aren't oval, they're rectangular portals, and they go back and forth in time. So you have a third or fourth dimension if you think about it.
Yeah, I never actually got to play the demo. I did download it, and then all my good intentions just poofed away.
Anyway,
but
this is an announcement that Portal is available with ray tracing, which should make it
not just ray tracing,
handy.
RTX.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I should say RTX.
It's got the Quake RTX treatment, basically, and it's pretty demanding. The recommended specs are an i7-9700K or AMD Ryzen 5 3600, so that's fine. And then a GeForce RTX 3080 with DLSS 2 enabled. And that's to get you going at the high preset for 1080-60 gameplay. That's quite a bit.
Look at the CPU level. Look at the CPU level they're recommending as well. Sorry.
Ultra is ridiculous because then they want you to get a 4080 and use DLSS 3, which of course will involve frame generation, and that's to get you to 4K 60. I wonder if that's with frame generation, because that'd be crazy. The specs are recommended specs are high,
robust.
I'm curious to see how well this does as just a benchmark, if nothing else. Is it tomorrow that it's available to the general public?
8th? I think so.
Yeah. So as we're recording this on the 7th, reviewers got codes early, but it's going to be a free DLC for anybody with the game. And finally, in gaming quick hits, rescue that dead Xbox with an external PSU.
This was specifically done on a Series S, whereas they have an internal power supply, which, if anybody knows anything about dead electronics, better than half of the time, it's probably something blown up in the power supply, whether it's a cap or some burned trace or something that's gone wrong. It's almost always with power delivery. And here's a video example, which is really a door to the obvious, which is just saying, just go get a cheap brick, wire it in, even put a port on the back if you feel you must be able to disconnect it, and do away with that error problem prone internal power supply and get your Xbox back and working again relatively simply, especially when you compare it to what it would cost to get fixed via Microsoft or third party, whoever. And there's a video to boot, show you how to get it done, and some write up on Hackaday. Obvious in retrospect if you think about it.
Is this Real?
That's it. We're going to picks of the week, baby.
Picks of the week. And it's only 11:27 p.m. on the East Coast.
Yeah,
Josh,
let's keep rolling.
please,
Me?
for the love of God, don't do a monitor again. Don't do a monitor again.
Rolling.
Yeah,
Josh.
essentially that
Do
is
a
what
monitor,
I'm doing,
Josh.
is not a monitor. These damn things are finally for sale, and they've actually had to lower the price a little bit from what they were, initially, and they're just so bad. It's that Samsung 55-inch monitor that you can actually rotate into vertical, and it's curved. Originally 3,500, now down to 2,500, and you can get it delivered. And apparently, the image quality is no bueno. I mean, it's
What?
Yeah, I've heard it kind of has a red tint about it. All kinds
Josh,
of.
I wanted
you're looking at lettering and whatnot. It's not good.
I was looking for my
So have
screens.
fun.
Looking for screens for my Cooler Master chair.
If you were probably just playing racing games all day, it would be fantastic.
All right.
But if you're doing anything other than that, and even then, at $2,500, you can get an OLED 55-inch for $1,200 to $1,400. That is going to give you a better experience overall. So, I don't know. It's kind of goofy. It's like, hey, we can do this. We should. No, we really shouldn't. But no, we will.
Jeremy.
We've been doing very expensive stuff lately, and so this
Especially
was just
Josh.
well, no, all of us have because, well, hey, surprise, everything's expensive nowadays, except for this 2-for-1 USB deal that it's Best Buy Canada one. So if you happen to be in Best Buy for random reasons, a pair of 32 gigs, which is good enough for just about anything you're going to be doing, for $10, well, $11, is not a bad deal. It's a great stocking stuffer, or if you bought someone something digital and you need to be able to transfer it, some USB 3.2 flash drives, not a bad thing.
I'm impressed for $11.
Yeah, who cares what the transfer speeds are? You're getting two for $11. So, yeah.
I'm picking up a couple for stocking stuffers.
Yeah, I mean, at 3.2 speeds, and if you're dealing with a 32 gig flash drive, you're probably, hopefully, not just transferring a few K. You're actually moving something significant between air-gapped or car-gapped, computers. That makes sense.
Yeah, or you bought someone a bunch of digital stuff and you want to be able to wrap something up and give it to them.
Nice.
Brett, your pick this week.
I went with what I considered a holiday theme as well, and I picked something off of Woot. If you're having a gaming party at your house, a bunch of people coming over, and you've got an extra PC and you want to be able to sit down and play some games with friends, one of the first things I've discovered I run out here at my house is audio, and that's like headphones or speakers or something like that. $20. $20. Give them an Asus Tough Gaming H1 wired headset with certified mic, 7.1 surround. This doesn't sound bad for $19.99. Put one on the shelf at your place so that when buddies come over and you want to sit down and have gaming and you don't want to hand them, your sweaty friend, your nice set of high-end headphones for them to, to use, give them these.
My pick this week isn't really a pick. It's it's time for the vintage hardware showcase section.
Oh, excellent.
I wish I could put a little my face in a circle like the old the old seasons.
Well, if only you knew who edited this
Room?
podcast.
Right.
You need
Wheel
like
of
a
Fortune.
vignette.
And Wheel of Fortune used to have
my little eye.
people in a little circle. It's like they go through the showcase. Like, I'll take the dresser, Pat, and the shoe stand.
Yes.
That's valued at
the one with the little circle
$699.95.
of the head here, and
I'll take the solid brass donkey. Valued at
okay, well, you've still got $300 left.
Oh,
okay, maybe the rocking horse.
The camera's just scrolling around this room of just junk, overpriced garbage.
Set
The mahogany croquet set or the platinum. Okay. Anyway, I recently was attempting to get a working 9700 Pro, and I got one, and it wasn't working, so I sent it back, and I got a refund. And then I said, screw this, I'll get a 9800 Pro. Those are probably less, problematic. And I got one, and it was dead, and I actually got a refund that didn't want it back. So I still have a dead card. But I decided to pool my refund money and get one that I knew would work. Well, it wasn't new, but the person claimed that it worked, and it was still in the box. So I now own and I've tested this, it actually does work.
Whoa!
A Radeon 9700 Pro from back in the day. It's everything I ever wanted it to be.
Gosh dang this bug.
Josh,
That's right. It's a bug.
Can you guide us out, or are the flies?
You know what? The
gonna be too much
bugs,
for
the
you?
dogs, the family. I mean, all these things are just conspiring against me to give a good outro. And it makes me angry. Sometimes just so angry enough that I'm just going to say, you people do what you want. You can listen to us. You can watch us. I don't care. Just get out of my face. Good night.